remembering their commitment celebration the night that held a promise of forever. A celebration not just of love, but of unity, family, and a vow to be strong through all they would face. The Sister Wives commitment celebration was an event, yes, but it was also an emblem of hope, a statement of fortitude and a public assertion that love, even untraditional love, could last. But with the passage of years, that moment, once shining with happiness, grew into a bittersweet memory, lingering through the ages like a melody that no longer rings true. Today, we're remembering the Sister Wives commitment celebration, one of the most defining and emotional moments in TLC history. From the colorful dresses to the heartfelt vows, to the hidden tension beneath the smiles. This was the night the Brown family wanted the world to see them as one. But behind the scenes, the cracks were already beginning to form. This is remembering their commitment celebration, a flashback to how Kody Brown, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn gathered together for a moment that changed everything, and how that night, once so promising, turned into the pivot that would change their lives forever. The dream of unity at the center of the Sister Wives experience, well before the heartbreaks and separations, was one mission: to represent the world with what plural love actually is. TLC's cameras caught it all. The dinners shared around one large table, the chaos, the laughter. But no moment did that vision better than the commitment celebration. Kody Brown stood tall, with determination in his eyes and pride. Surrounding him, his wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, shone in beautiful gowns, each color representing their own special place in the family. For viewers back home on TLC, this was history unfolding. This wasn't a wedding. It wasn't legal. But it was profoundly spiritual. A reaffirmation of one another. A vow that in spite of the difficulties, they were selecting this life, this love. Anew, the concept began as a family conversation. Kody wanted to mark their spiritual oneness, particularly as the family was judged by society at large. Cameras recorded as Sister Wives talked dresses, decorations, and speeches. Even then, tensions lay brooding in the background. Meri did not know where she fitted in, her voice somewhat detached during family meetings. Christine wanted it to all be perfect, but inside her, she had doubts. Doubts about where she belonged, whether her heart was still whole in it. Janelle, always the pragmatist, thought about details, trying to maintain the peace while quietly observing the currents of emotions swirling around her. And then there was Robyn, the newest of the wives, the one who infused new energy and yet unintentionally caused insecurity. Nevertheless, when the night of nights arrived, all feelings were set aside, for family's sake, for the cameras, for the vision of sharing with the world what spiritual marriage could be. The night that changed everything commitment celebration took place beneath radiant lights, a dream world where every shred of detail glowed with hope. Kody stood at the center, and he spoke with fervor of faith, family, and eternity. The Sister Wives listened, their smiles beaming, but their eyes expressing so much more. Christine's expression was bittersweet. Meri's eyes carried silent pain, the weight of years of feeling both cherished and overlooked. Janelle's smile was steady but cautious. And Robyn, the newest heart in the family, looked radiant, ready to embrace what the others were struggling to hold on to. As Kody proclaimed, "This is our covenant, our promise before God." Viewers everywhere felt the sentiment. Twitter hummed. Hashtags such as hashtag Sister Wives Commitment, hashtag Kody Brown Family, and hashtag TLC Drama were trending. Fans posted, "This is the moment that defines them," without knowing that behind the gold and glitter, it was also the start of an unraveling. What the cameras didn't catch, at least not entirely, were the feelings that ran deep. Meri subsequently owned up to the fact that, at the time, she was already grappling with loneliness. Christine revealed years afterward that the experience, while lovely, made her understand that she no longer felt spiritually satisfied in her marriage. Janelle acknowledged exhaustion, juggling autonomy and attachment. And Robyn, though the newcomer, already started to feel the pressure of being regarded as Kody's favorite. For the Browns, the commitment celebration was designed to heal. But occasionally healing exposes wounds you didn't realize were still open, a symbol of love. And lost years later, when fans revisit the footage on TLC, that night looks almost haunting. The laughter, the dancing, the vows, all symbols of a dream that couldn't hold against reality. When Christine eventually left, when Janelle began to distance herself, when Meri's goodbye became final, viewers couldn't help but look back at the commitment celebration and wonder, was this the moment? It all began to change. Even to this day, the commitment celebration is one of the most viewed and most talked about moments in Sister Wives history. It's rewatched by viewers, analyzed by critics, and recalled as both the family's peak and the first warning sign of their demise. Recalling the promise that despite all that, one thing is certain, that night was real. Their vows, their sobs, their giggles, it wasn't a show. It was love, messy and imperfect, but real. That's what made Sister Wives so compelling. It depicted a family attempting to live honestly. Even when honesty equated to heartache. The commitment celebration was not a ceremony. It was a statement to the world, a message. We are different, but we are together. And though that togetherness did not forever hold, its memory continues to unite fans, continues to inspire conversations, continues to remind us that love, in all its iterations, is worth celebrating, even when it doesn't conclude the way we wish. As we look back on their commitment celebration, we're reminded that behind every good picture, there's a story. Behind every smile, a secret. And behind every vow, a test. The Sister Wives taught us that love isn't necessarily about forever. Sometimes it's about having the courage to say, we tried. Stay tuned, because up next, we'll dive deep into what happened after the commitment celebration, the cracks, the heartbreak, and the truth about how it all fell apart. Every great tale has its turning point. For the Browns, the commitment celebration was that turning point, the high note before the fall. In the subsequent months and years, the warm light of that evening waned and was replaced by confusion, distance, and heartbreak that even fans through the screen could sense. This is the aftermath and fallout, the true story of what happened when the lights dimmed and the world moved on, as the Brown family fought to remain one. The morning after the celebration, when the cameras finally stopped rolling, reality closed in. The next morning was not with laughter or new beginnings. It was weighted. The symbolic vows that were to renew oneness had awakened old feelings. Christine woke up one morning with a subdued pain. She later confessed that there was something about the previous night that was final, as if she was leaving behind a part of herself that did not exist anymore. Meri, being always in control, shunned revealing her agony. However, people who hung out with the family observed the distance. The sparkle in her eyes had disappeared. Janelle returned to juggling day-to-day life, bills, schedules, kids, because something had to run. And Robyn, she held out hope. She still believed in the dream, still believed that their oneness could succeed, that faith and family could mend all things. But beneath every look and smile, fissures grew unseen. The pressure of perfection as Sister Wives remained on the air on TLC. The image of the family became both their pride and their cross. The world witnessed a family of faith, a contemporary portrayal of plural marriage, with joy, kids, and harmony. But behind closed doors, each episode was a reminder of private suffering in public. Fans started to pick up on little changes, body language, tone, small things that spoke volumes more than words ever could. Christine's smile wasn't reaching her eyes anymore. Meri and Kody's talks were getting shorter, colder. Janelle was speaking more candidly about needing space. And Robyn, once the symbol of new beginnings, was now being viewed as the cause of the widening rift. Social media was abuzz with arguments. Is Kody favoring Robyn? What happened to Christine's happiness? Did the commitment celebration even matter? The fraying of trust in all families. Trust is the cornerstone, but in a plural marriage, it's the string that keeps everything in place. Following the commitment celebration, the string started to fray. Christine, who was once the center of the family's warmth, began questioning it all. Her faith, her marriage, even sisterhood. She attempted to maintain a smile for her children and fans, but she knew in her heart that something within her had altered. Meri felt alone. Years of emotional isolation from Kody had become silence. Theirs had been a loving relationship turned polite, a connected one made cold. When Kody's focus turned more to Robyn, that silence was intolerable. Janelle remained neutral. Practicality her armor. She enjoyed her freedom, her children, her routine. But even she couldn't deny the emotional space growing between the wives. And Robyn, though adored by Kody, had the weight of being the favorite. She didn't ask for it, but it existed, in sight, undenied. The commitment celebration, designed to bring them together, had inadvertently remapped the emotional landscape of their family. The public versus private battle. Sister Wives was not only a television show. It was a way of life that was televised to millions. Every family fight, every tear, every silence was amplified. Fans theorized endlessly, critics hounded mercilessly, and suddenly the intimate was everyone's water cooler. Kody, the charismatic confidence builder, was starting to develop fissures of frustration. His tone became edgy, his words barbed. He yearned for unity, but unity costs sacrifice, and the wives no longer wished to sacrifice as much as they had. Earlier, Christine's confessional moments started, showing finesse truths. Janelle's pronouncements betrayed autonomy. Meri's body language screamed loneliness. And Robyn's tears, real or misunderstood, became the emotional center of every episode. The commitment celebration, once a symbol of love, had become a benchmark against which every heartbreak was measured. Christine's breaking point. Christine's was a path of quiet strength. Following the commitment celebration, she attempted for years to restore the happiness that had once characterized her marriage. But each effort was repelled by distance. Kody's priorities changed, and Christine found that she was no longer emotionally invested in a relationship. In one of the most tear-jerking Sister Wives episodes, Christine confessed, "I want a marriage in which my husband loves me back, not merely a duty, not merely a role." That one sentence shattered millions of hearts. Fans on social media shared it, tweeted it, and made it the song of self-worth and autonomy. Christine's narrative became the mirror for millions of viewers who remained in relationships, expecting love to come back. Her final choice to leave was anguish, but freeing. It was the time supporters understood. The dream of commitment celebration had finished, and a new era was dawning. Janelle's balance and strength. Janelle Brown has always been the foundation. Calm and composed, logical. Post the drama, she was the family's quiet balancer. She realized that people dealt with pain in different ways. While Christine craved freedom and Meri fought isolation, Janelle was all about peace. Even if that meant backing off. Her words to TLC cameras were succinct. "I love my family, but sometimes peace is better than togetherness." Janelle's approach resonated deeply with fans who valued balance over chaos. She didn't burn bridges. She simply walked across them quietly, leaving room for return, but not regret. Her independence became one of the strongest themes in later seasons, inspiring countless viewers to redefine what family meant. Meri's silent goodbye, perhaps the most heartbreaking story. After the commitment celebration was Meri's, after the first wife. After Kody's everything partner, she was the embodiment of emotional resilience. Her conflicts were evident but unsaid. One could see in her eyes she desired intimacy. She needed validation. She needed love. Her bond with Kody grew distant, more business-oriented than intimate. When finally she said it out loud, the world listened. I still care about Kody, but sometimes love means letting go of what hurts you. When Meri's departure was finally confirmed, it wasn't explosive. It was quiet, reflective, and deeply sad. It marked the true end of an era that began with laughter and hope during the commitment celebration. Robyn's lonely, the wife once viewed as the favorite, ended up the LONELIST after the other wives had departed. Robyn was left as the sole one spiritually aligned with Kody, but the happiness she had earlier knew was substituted with loneliness. Without the sisterhood, the home was silent. Without the laughter, the dream had been hollow. Robyn confessed in subsequent interviews, "This isn't what I wanted. I wanted family. I wanted all of us." Her tears, which were once polarizing to the viewers, started to make sense. She wasn't sobbing tears of victory. She was crying over a dream that had disappeared. Kody's reflection, Kody Brown, once the boastful patriarch, stood in the wreckage of a dream. For wives had vowed to him forever. Now one stayed behind. The commitment celebration that called to mind power now whispered loss. Kody's subsequent interviews portrayed a man grappling with belief, ego, and remorse. He confessed, "I believed that love would suffice, but love without knowledge is not unity, but havoc." Fans witnessed a new man, one chastened by tragedy, contemplative but unyielding. His transformation from leader to sole husband was one of the most talked about events in TLC history. The commitment celebration was never a miscalculation. It was a time of truth. It showed them who they were, what they desired, and what they were willing to suffer. It was the start as well as the finish. A celebration of love which educated millions about real love, sacrifice, and bravery. But this is not the end of the story, because in every end, there's a lesson. We'll uncover the lessons learned, the personal growth that came after the pain, and how Sister Wives, even broken, continues to inspire millions around the world. Lessons, healing, and legacy. Sister Wives, TLC. Every ending carries a beginning within it. When the Brown family's path came unraveled, something lovely was created, a testament to perseverance, redefinition, and rediscovery. The Sister Wives walked apart, but their legacy endures throughout time, through devotees, and through the teachings of their collective past. The power of letting go of commitment celebration once symbolized togetherness, but letting go proved to be the family's greatest demonstration of love. Christine was the one who first made that move. When she decided to leave, it wasn't because she was angry. It was because she was clear. For years, she gave her all, expecting the love of the family to come back. But instead of waiting for love, she chose to become love. Not just for her children, but for herself. Her relocation to Utah represented freedom. She laughed once more, cooked with happiness, and started creating a new life. Fans also saw the light coming back to her face, the same as before when she was part of the early TLC seasons. Christine stated in interviews, "I realized I didn't fail. I just finished one chapter." Those sentences resonated on social media. People saw not only a woman walking out of a marriage, but a woman walking into self-worth. Janelle's redefinition of family. Janelle's journey was quieter, yet just as powerful. She redefined family, not by abandoning love, but by broadening her definition of it. Her bond with her children grew stronger. She was the voice of wisdom for the family, reminding everyone that at times, Peace is more powerful than conflict. She was proud of her independence, working, exploring the world, and being in touch with fans who respected her unwavering strength. Her practical yet heart-oriented balance made her one of the most endearing Sister Wives figures. During a 2025 interview for TLC, Janelle stated, "Family doesn't end because structure changes. It evolves." Those words became a mantra for fans going through their own changes. Proof that love doesn't disappear when form changes. It just transforms. Meri's journey towards self-discovery for Meri. Healing took time, years of introspection, acceptance, and courage. She was the first wife, the one who had helped to build it all from scratch. The commitment celebration had been everything to her, an opportunity to belong once more. But after all of it, she discovered that belonging starts inside. Her online profile was starting to reflect a different energy: travel, laughter, empowerment. She started her own businesses, met fans, and discussed openly forgiveness and moving forward. Her most poignant quote was one of understated depth: "My story isn't over. It's just mine now." The world witnessed Meri transition from sorrowful silence to fearless independence. She no longer required a shared platform. She had her own spot in the spotlight. Robyn's reflection and regret-feeling for Robyn was different. She remained with Kody, faithful, dedicated, and tearful. But with it came the burden of being misconstrued. Robyn was also known by the fans as the cause for the downfall of the family. But the view from Robyn was of a woman who never desired separation. She desired unity that never returned. In a 2025 interview in retrospection, she had cried and said, "People think I got what I wanted, but I lost my family too." Those words melted many hearts. The fans began to view Robyn's tears as grief and not guilt. The commitment celebration had been a dream of hers as well. A dream of one large family loving one another completely. Losing that dream shattered her spirit, even as she clung to faith. Kody's realization and regret. Kody Brown's transformation was one of the most widely talked about arcs in reality television history. From self-assured patriarch to introspective father, his journey demonstrated strength and obstinacy. Following the breakup of the family, Kody underwent intense self-reflection, challenging his leadership beliefs and what love meant to him. In a subsequent TLC special, he confessed, "I thought I could lead through faith alone, but love isn't commanded, it's earned." That moment remained one of the most candid confessions on the show. Kody's tale now is both a cautionary story and a reflection of pride, loss, and education. The connection of the fans and emotional resonance in all of this. One thing remained the same: the fans. For more than a decade, audiences of Sister Wives have shared laughter, tears, and countless discussions about faith, family, and freedom. The commitment celebration episode remains one of the most watched retellings on TLC streaming services. It's dissected, discussed, and remembered not only as entertainment, but as a mirror of genuine human emotion. Fans saw themselves in Christine's courage, Janelle's calm, Meri's endurance, Robyn's emotion, and even Kody's flaws. That connection is what made Sister Wives more than a show. It became a mirror of love's complexity, the legacy of the commitment celebration years later. As fans revisit Sister Wives clips on YouTube and TLC+, the commitment celebration still stands as a powerful symbol, not of perfection, but of humanity. It is the beauty of attempting, of selecting love even when it is difficult. It is a reminder that sometimes the most significant promises are the ones that instruct us regarding who we are. Each of the Sister Wives, in her own manner, holds the memory of that night. Christine recalls the laughter. Janelle recalls the togetherness. Meri remembers the optimism. Robyn recalls the faith. And Kody recalls the vow, one he attempted to honor, even when it failed. The commitment celebration is not history. It's legacy. One that keeps sparking discussions about love, decision, and family in 2025 and beyond. The lessons we learn ultimately. What the world learned from the Sister Wives commitment celebration was not polygamy or scandal. It was about humanity, about how we love, fail, forgive, and start again. It taught us that love isn't about quantity, it's about depth. That forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means releasing yourself. That endings aren't failures, they're transmutations. Fans tend to say they may not be together, but they altered the way we perceive family. And that's the truth. The Brown family began a dialogue that is still unfolding, educating millions regarding choice, emotion, and faith. Moving forward, as we reflect on their commitment celebration, we see it wasn't merely the conclusion of a season. It was the beginning of a movement, a tale of bravery, of women speaking out, and of love learning how to adapt. All of the Sister Wives might have taken individual paths, but their journey still remains connected through the hearts of viewers, who all grew up watching them. Their legacy isn't counted in marriages, it's counted in honesty, in proving to the world that love is dirty, raw, and worth a fight. They started out as sister wives, tied by faith. They ended up as women, tied by strength. And even though the commitment celebration is in the past, its flame still burns in each fan, each lesson, and each heart that continues to have faith in love's ability to mend. New beginnings and modern reflections, Sister Wives, TLCWHEN. We look back on the Sister Wives commitment celebration. We recall vows made under glittering lights. Vows of oneness, love, and eternity. But as the years went by, those guarantees changed. They didn't disappear. They adapted. And today, in 2025, the tale of Sister Wives is no longer that of a single family within one home. It's that of 5 people stepping into fresh starts with the wisdom of the past, new beginnings and modern reflections. A glance at where life has led the Browns, how the world perceives them now, and how the legacy of Sister Wives continues to redefine what love and family actually mean. Christine's new beginnings and renewed happiness. Christine Brown's life after Sister Wives has been one of the most uplifting in TLC history. Once she left Kody and settled in Utah, Christine rebuilt her life, smile by smile, brick by brick. She created her own cooking features, bonded with followers on social media in a deep way, and even fell in love again. A narrative that fans of TLC have watched with unadulterated delight. Here, now in her new home among her children and grandchildren, Christine exudes the peace that only previously she had wished for. Her social media posts best explain, "I never knew peace could be this beautiful." Others view her as a symbol of renewal, a woman who chose herself without anger, and thereby became a light of sorts for others looking to heal. Janelle's empowerment era. Janelle Brown, ever strong and wise, continues to flourish in her independence. Post-breakup, she prioritized health, personal empowerment, and business development. Fans love her no-drama strength. She doesn't seek attention often, but when she does speak, she speaks truth. Her relationship with her adult children is still robust, and she's become an advocate for balanced living, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Janelle's credo rings true with viewers: peace is the loudest strength. She now travels, collaborates with health brands, and enjoys the freedom to live life at her own pace, no longer defined by titles, but by purpose. Meri Brown's next chapter. Meri's transformation after leaving the family became one of TLC's most uplifting arcs. Once seen as heartbroken, she's now thriving, owning businesses, connecting with fans, and speaking openly about self-worth. Her confidence has inspired millions, proving that heartbreak can be the gateway to rediscovery. Her famous quote, "I don't need to be chosen to know I'm worthy," became a viral mantra for women across social media platforms. Shared with the hashtag Meri Brown strong. She single quotes as open retreats, toured with friends, and still interacts regularly with devoted fans who've been following her since the very beginning. Robyn's quiet resilience. Robyn Brown's past several years have been bittersweet. Still with Kody, she has a more subdued existence, out of the limelight, where critics used to view her as the source of tension. Robyn's later interviews have shown another side, one who craves peace and harmony. Albeit now simply with one husband, she continues to care for her children, care for her extended family long distance, and uphold her religion. In the face of criticism, she's remained true, feeling committed and optimistic. When questioned if she regretted becoming part of the family, Robyn replied simply, "No. Because through it all, I found faith, and I have found me." Her honesty served to remind us that healing does not always mean leaving behind. That sometimes healing means staying and rebuilding on your terms. Kody Brown, a man redefined. Kody's makeover has been the most nuanced of all. Once at the epicenter of it all, he now exists in a more straightforward existence with fewer cameras, fewer wives, and more contemplation. His fans have encountered a new him in recent years, less guarded, more introspective. His latest TLC special, Kody Brown, Lessons in Love, presented a rare vulnerability. He confessed, "I wanted to create something that lasts forever. I didn't know that everlasting love begins with humility." In 2025, Kody is still the provocative yet fascinating figure. A man previously characterized by his vision, now characterized by his mirror. The legacy on TLC still looks back at the Sister Wives saga with retrospectives, behind-the-scenes interviews, and new specials. Episodes of Going Back to the Commitment Celebration always trend in rewatch queues, with viewers analyzing each look, each promise, each stare between the wives. But aside from nostalgia, TLC's updated take emphasizes growth, demonstrating that reality television can transcend to real-life redemption. The Brown family's tale has been a case study in love, transformation, and authenticity. The way humans learn in public, fall apart, and recover. The internet's new wave of Sister Wives fans on YouTube, TikTok, and Reddit. Sister Wives has found a new generation of fans. Younger viewers are discovering the show for the first time, fascinated not by polygamy, but by emotional evolution. Clips of Christine's confidence, Janelle's wisdom, and Meri's strength dominate TikTok sound trends. Fan blogs share edit compilations with headings such as "This was never just a show. It was a lesson." Hashtags such as hashtag Sister Wives Legacy, hashtag Kristen Brownlow, and hashtag Meri Brown Journey trend frequently, which indicates that the saga is inspiring even years after the initial family arrangement fell apart. Thoughts about faith and freedom. Faith was always the core of the Brown family, the string that held every heart together. But after all of this, faith is different now for all of them. Christine finds it in peace. Janelle finds it in nature. Meri finds it in purpose. Robyn finds it in endurance. And Kody finds it in rebuilding. The commitment celebration was their collective promise. Now, faith is a personal, spiritual, and freer thing. That transformation speaks to viewers who have witnessed their own faith transform through life's challenges. Life lessons for viewers. Everywhere, millions of viewers worldwide now see Sister Wives as more than a TV show. It's a testament to human resiliency. From the commitment celebration to their breakup, every chapter is a lesson in a universal truth. Love may change, but growth never ends. Audiences report the series taught them to recognize emotional neglect, find the strength to transform their lives, learn endings don't cancel out love. See respect and independence as expressions of love as well. The authenticity of the show, tears, silence, laughter, made it one of the longest-running TLC series ever. A family remembered in the end. It wasn't the dresses, vows, or songs that made the night unforgettable. It was the hope, the common belief that love, however complicated, was worth celebrating. Even as the years have rewritten their history, the Sister Wives will always be remembered for the courage to live authentically, to love freely, and to demonstrate to the world that family is not about being perfect. It's about staying strong. Their commitment celebration was one evening, but its reverberation has lasted for years, because in every vow spoken and broken, there was authenticity. In every tear that was shed, there was bravery. And in each goodbye, love. The Sister Wives narrative is not of endings, but of becoming. And even today, as fans still remember, talk about, and revisit that moment, there is one message that stays: love evolves. Family does, too. But hope never wavers. The cultural influence of Sister Wives, how it shifted reality TV and discussions about family. TLC WAG and Sister Wives initially premiered on TLC. It wasn't merely another reality program, but a cultural lightning bolt. During an age of competitions, makeovers, and celebrity bedlam, the Brown family entered the scene with something completely different: faith, family, and a candid examination of polygamy. The commitment celebration episode solidified that contrast. It fueled conversations that continue to ripple through television, religious communities, and living rooms 15 years later. Breaking television barrier to Sister Wives, a mainstream network spending an hour on a plural family, was unimaginable. When TLC rolled out its first season, critics predicted a fad. Instead, audiences tuned in, not to scandal, but to sincerity. The commitment celebration was the time that transformed curiosity into connection. Millions saw a family show love in a ceremony the world had never experienced. Ratings went through the roof, and TLC understood that audiences weren't afraid of difference. They were hungry for authenticity. The episode's popularity broke barriers, from university conferences to faith panels. Pastors and professors engaged in discussions of what it meant for America to be witnessing a family such as this on primetime TV. Reality TV was not ridiculing faith for the first time. It was researching it. The change in public discourse following the commitment celebration. Mainstream media no longer hushed about polygamy. Headlines dominated from tabloids to newsrooms. Is love truly limitless? The Browns bring faith to prime time. The series initiated a dialogue on religious liberty and what constitutes marriage. That continued beyond political seasons. Individuals who previously never spoke of relationship forms were arguing about plural marriage on social media forums and campuses. Even psychology texts used the family dynamics as examples in communication and conflict resolution. For the Browns, it was a blessing and a curse. They had become icons of freedom and controversy simultaneously. Common people transformed into national conversation starters. Representation and empathy. The true impact of Sister Wives wasn't in numbers, it was in hearts. Viewers saw the wives not as stereotypes, but as individuals. Christine's humor, Janelle's stability, Meri's vulnerability, Robyn's faith, all offered facets of womanhood rarely seen together on television. Audiences found themselves empathizing with situations they once judged. Later academic research demonstrated that watching Sister Wives decreased negative prejudice toward religious minorities among younger viewers ages 18 to 35. The program had made a way of life familiar, as only whispers and headlines in the tabloids had previously informed many. Reality TV chef Sister Wives' success rewrote the book on reality television. Networks understood that viewers needed substance rather than drama. Not conflict contrived, but stories with substance, authentic emotion, authentic families, authentic risks. Following TLC's success, other networks introduced documentary-style shows featuring unusual faiths, nonconformist relationships, and country communities. Producers frequently credit Sister Wives with being the crossroads between shock reality, early 2000s, and emotional reality of today. It showed that reality could trend. Cultural reflections beyond television. By 2025, the Sister Wives effect reached far beyond the screens. Colleges present panels on family plurality. Clergymen reference the Browns when describing contemporary marriage. Podcasts examine the psychology of mutual commitment and personal development. Even relationship therapists reference episodes to instruct in communication and emotional openness. The commitment celebration, in reflection, was a cultural artifact. An hour of television that recorded a nation's desire to see love in a different way, in a world more and more divided by beliefs. This story promoted comprehension rather than judgment, changing the conversation about women at its heart. Sister Wives was also a show about women's voices in religious systems. The wives moved through spiritual power, marriage expectations, and personal aspiration, all in front of a camera. Their narratives upended the long-standing assumptions that plural marriage was necessarily oppressive. Rather, the series provided complexity, strength alongside struggle. Christine's decision to leave became a global conversation about female agency. Meri's rebirth after heartbreak inspired self-help communities. Janelle's balance between career and faith sparked dialogue about economic empowerment. And Robyn's emotional honesty reframed the idea of loyalty as a form of resistance against public shaming. Social media and fan culture now. Account of the show's influence would be complete without mention of its digital life after death. Segments of the commitment celebration continue to be re-edited and posted on YouTube and TikTok. Fan podcasts break down episodes in detail, reading them as if they were literature. Comment threads become therapy sessions where fans debate their own marriages and spirituality. TLC acknowledged this involvement and went with it, putting out archive footage, interactive quizzes, and where are they now? Specials. The outcome? A fan base that did not disperse with the series. It gained momentum. Reality TV as mirror of modern faith. By 2025. Sister Wives is noted by critics as among the very few reality shows to approach faith with respect and integrity. The Brown family's path reflected the wider movement in the way Americans practice religion. Less institutional, more individual. Each of the wives' spiritual journeys became a metaphor for contemporary religious identity, questioning, seeking, changing. Media and religion seminars used the commitment celebration as a case study in visual theology, the manner in which television converts religion into narratives that appeal to secular hearts. Legacy in pop culture and beyond. Even beyond TLC, the reference to Sister Wives occurs in comedies, talk shows, and dramas. It is used as shorthand for complicated relationships or unconventional families by writers. But what was once a joke now gets said with respect. That's the power of representation, transforming mockery into recognition. The series also set the tone for other reality shows to represent emotional vulnerability. Contestants and participants now are taught to discuss mental health and religion openly, something that Sister Wives made acceptable long before it became popular. The ethics of authenticity. Critics are bound to wonder, was it appropriate to reveal so much of their lives? The reason is in the way the family dealt with truth. They did not pretend to be flawless. By exposing vulnerability on film, marital stress, money woes, faith crises, they redefined reality television morals. It was not about acting happy anymore. It was about living authentically. Contemporary artists reference Sister Wives when talking about honesty in storytelling. It showed that audiences respect truth, even if it is painful. A legacy that continues to grow 15 years ago, when those promises were made under the twinkling lights. The Brown family's tale continues to thrive on every screen and every conversation about love, faith, and truth. Their experience showed us that television can do more than simply entertain. It can broaden empathy, shake beliefs, and bridge worlds. The commitment celebration used to be a family ritual. Now it's a cultural phenomenon. It reminds us that even in the divided world we live in, testimonies of genuine love can still unite us. They didn't alter television. They altered how we perceive each other. And that is the real legacy of the Sister Wives commitment celebration, a reminder that love, no matter its shape, is worth getting to know. The worldwide appeal and fan following, Sister Wives, TLC WHEN commitment celebration debuted. It was meant for the United States audience. Families in the states of Arizona and Utah who knew the Browns' reality. But something remarkable occurred. Before long, the episode had viewers tuning in London, Johannesburg, Sydney, Manila, and Sao Paulo. Love, as it turned out, didn't require subtitles. From Utah to the world when TLC International picked up Sister Wives in addition to its roster of shows, the reaction was instantaneous. Audiences in Europe and Asia were not drawn to polygamy, but to the emotional commonality, the yearning to belong, the braveness to be different, the pain of struggling to keep love intact. In 2025, analytics report the show streaming in more than 120 countries. There are fan subtitles in over 15 languages, volunteered by people who just wanted others to share what they experienced during that commitment night. In Brazil, the commitment celebration episode went viral on YouTube with the title Celebraco do Compromisso. In Japan, it was broadcast on NHK satellite TV with the subtitle The Promise of Love. In Europe, fans had watch parties where conversation topics spanned from religion to feminism to family composition. Cultural conversations in new contexts. In South Africa, religious groups employed the series to generate debate concerning traditional marriages and contemporary values. In India, sociology students composed essays comparing sister wives to polyandrous mythology in Himalayan areas. Within the Middle East, pundits on Arabic podcasts spoke about the emotional integrity of the Brown wives and how their experience differed from local traditions. Those conversations never involved copying the way of life. They were conversations about understanding. For the first time, millions heard a Western faith narrative which was not based on judgment but on seeking truth. Streaming and social connection. Look, and the big streaming services teamed up and took Sister Wives to phones and tablets across the globe. Algorithms took care of the rest. An East African viewer in Kenya tweeted, "I began this out of curiosity and ended up crying." That tweet was retweeted 25,000 times, translated into 9 languages, and morphed into a viral clip montage on TikTok. There are fan communities online on every continent. Facebook groups such as Sister Wives Global Circle and Brown family fans of Europe debate episodes, dissect relationships, and post personal experiences regarding faith and liberty. What started off as a TLC show turned into a digital revolution. Academic and media recognition. In 2025, the University of Leeds released a study called Plural Love in the Public Sphere: How Sister Wives Globalized Family Narratives. It posited that viewers everywhere wanted ethical emotion on television, stories in which human beings engage with tough realities with dignity. And Australian media pundits praised the show as one of the 21st century's most important family stories. It was not merely a show about the Brown family anymore. It was about how human beings look for connection in the midst of difference. From Uganda to Utah, From London to Las Vegas, the sound of that night still resonates. The commitment celebration was never mere TV. It was a bridge between cultures and languages. It showed the world that whether we love differently or not, we dream alike. The global fan legacy and how the story keeps growing, Sister Wives, took 15 years. Since the Brown family rallied around those fairy lights, their narrative is no longer TV. It's a living record of human feeling that fans keep adding to every day. What started as a specific incident has evolved into a common language of healing, conversation, and optimism. The age of fan creators, each platform now has its own spin-off of the Sister Wives world. On YouTube, reaction channels break down episodes line by line, looking for that perfect second when Christine's smile became determination. On TikTok, brief clips coupled with soothing music turn lines into memes and inspirational quotes. Instagram accounts hail each wife's experience with visually pleasing photo grids and titles such as Peace Over Perfection. These producers are not just fans. They're emotion archivists. They capture the raw moments of the show and turn them into a common language. Bravery following loss, resilience through transformation, and trust without fear. Podcasts and conversations of shows now simply analyze Sister Wives. Programs such as Plural Perspectives, Couch Talk with Christine fans, and the Faith Family Forum encourage psychologists, sociologists, and audience members to engage in discussions of commitment and change. The podcasts have made the Browns saga a constant social experiment. Listeners say they tune in not for drama, but for the relatability. They see their own families in the Browns' conversations, their own fears in Meri's silence, their own courage in Christine's goodbye. Fan meetups and virtual community Esto's digital connections have bled over into real life. Virtual party watching on Discord and Zoom attract viewers from all over time zones. In 2025, a group of Toronto fans organized a commitment celebration rewatch night complete with candles and toast mocktails to oneself. Book clubs in Germany and the Philippines take the series as a starting point to talk about marriage, religion, and mental health. What binds them together isn't belief, it's empathy. Across borders and screens, the Sister Wives community is about the same theme that previously bound together the Browns. Discovering family in unusual locations. From reality to resource therapists and counselors have borrowed the show quietly as a teaching aid. Excerpts from the commitment celebration and subsequent episodes are applied in communication and boundary workshops. Audiences view live illustrations of attachment patterns, conflict management, and the pain of change. In 2025, TLC even teamed up with a nonprofit organization known as Families in Focus to develop a relationship resilience curriculum. By utilizing some of the selected scenes of Sister Wives from entertainment, it evolved into an educational and healing tool. Merchandise and meaning-given products have gone beyond fan memorabilia. Online stores offer bracelets with inscriptions such as Peace Over Perfection, Meri taught me strength, and Christine chose joy. Some of these products' proceeds are donated to domestic violence and women's empowerment groups. What began as fan imagination has now turned into social activism. Testament that advocacy and art can thrive from a reality show on faith and family. Generational viewers. A fresh generation of young fans found the series via streaming and clips. Most were kids when the original run was on. Now they're adults rewatching the show with new eyes. They watch it not as a religious story, but one of relationships and self-worth. Teachers say students cite Sister Wives in essays on contemporary family life. Even high school debate teams make the commitment celebration a case study in emotional expression across generations and continents. The story continues to live on because people recognize themselves in it. The Browns laid themselves bare, and the world responded back in compassion. That is how a TV moment turns into a movement. The lasting resonance of the commitment celebration, Sister Wives, years go by. The lights of that evening have faded long ago. The music has ceased to echo across the desert landscape, and yet the feeling persists. The commitment celebration continues to waft across screens, hearts, and headlines. A living memory that will not die. A moment revisited every anniversary of the episode's release sparks a wave of nostalgia online. Fans post their favorite quotes: Christine's laughter, Meri's tears, Janelle's steady calm, Robyn's hope. Comment sections fill with gratitude. This taught me to forgive. This helped me leave a bad relationship. This reminded me love takes courage. TLC rears the commitment celebration. Special on a regular basis, with each airing garnering millions of new viewers. The moment when the Brown family sits under golden lights has itself become as iconic as any wedding montage ever seen in television history. A repository of authenticity. Wives is now tagged on streaming sites as reality history. Universities preserve it among sociological documentaries. The commitment celebration episode rests in digital repositories. As a case study in authentic storytelling, teachers point out that the series achieved something that very few productions ever accomplish. It chronicled real-time change in moral and emotional awareness. Viewers quite literally saw love develop. Symbols that surviveth vision of that evening. The lanterns, the ring of hands, the desert breeze has acquired symbolic existence. Painters depict it. Photographers restage it for wedding photography. Poets refer to it in anthologies of strength. Even churches and interfaith organizations utilize stills from the episode to depict unity across dogma. The Brown family have perhaps altered, yet the symbols they devised remain in order to instruct. Unity for them was not the lack of struggle. It was the bravery to endure struggle together. The echo in new media in 2025. TLC debuted a limited series podcast called Echoes of the Commitment. Every episode contains footage from that evening matched with observations from fans, academics, and the Browns themselves. It shot to the top of streaming lists worldwide within an instant, demonstrating that the intrigue isn't nostalgia, it's relevance. Younger listeners call it therapy in story form, a testament to the fact that vulnerability never goes out of style. The message that remains to ask any old-time viewer what they recall most. And they'll say, not the scandal, but the courage. The courage to present love in all its flaw. That authenticity became the show's best export dot in a time of filters and staged happiness. The Browns' tears were genuine. That genuineness is why global viewers still rave about them. It is why Sister Wives clips go viral whenever society questions love, religion, or family. Passing the torch, an unexpected wave of influence derives from the Brown children. Now grown adults posting glimpses of their own lives on the internet. Some opt for secrecy, some public protest. But all are respectful in discussing the lessons derived from openness. Their subtle strength carries on the legacy without reimposing the past. In interviews they reaffirm the same. Greater Than That Night wasn't about proving anything. It was about love. Why it still matters. The world has shifted since 2010. New arguments, new family definitions. But commitment celebration is still relevant because it was never just about marriage. It was about human connection, the delicate fibers that bind hearts. To the 2025 viewers. It is a testament that vulnerability equals strength. That being seen fully, transparently, is the greatest act of bravery. Closing reflection. The echo continues from language to continent to generation. The reverberation remains. The commitment celebration is one family's celebration, but the message is one that belongs to all. Love is expansive, faith can grow, and honesty restores. It started in the desert, but is now heard by oceans, whispered via podcasts, videos, and hearts that know that being human is the greatest commitment of all. The final reflection, Love After Legacy, Sister Wives, took when the commitment celebration lights first twinkled in the Las Vegas sky. It seemed to be a promise that would forever last. Years down the line, the shine has softened, but not vanished. Just softly. This is the tale of what comes after forever, when promises turn into memories, when families grow, and when love finds its second life. The silence following the storm in each saga. There's a time when noise departs. Following the breakups, following the interviews, following the endless cyber argument, silence at last came. And in the silence came wisdom. Every one of the sister wives understood that the strongest commitment was not to Kody Brown, or to a common home, but to their own selves. Christine's laughter in Utah, Meri's long drives through the mountains, Janelle's quiet mornings with coffee, Robyn's prayers at sunset. Each of them became new verses in the same unfinished hymn. Love redefined love. The word that started it all now carries a different shape. It's no longer about shared roofs or matching rings. It's about presence. Viewers once tuned in to see if plural marriage could work. Now they observe how love endures as friendship, co-parenting, forgiveness, and respect. Kody's subsequent introspection demonstrated humility. I used to measure love by loyalty. Now I measure it by peace. That one line became the subtext of the entire series. Healing through Hunnestide's last lesson from the Brown saga is honesty. When Christine walked away, she did so in truth. When Janelle decided to stay calm, she did so with dignity. When Meri parted, she did so with thankfulness. And when Robyn remained, she did so with trust. Each choice, unique yet respectful, created a mosaic of how true healing exists. Audiences discovered that strength is not loud. It's sometimes the whisper that says, I will be okay. Fans as witnesses. Millions of fans served as silent witnesses to this healing. They started out as observers of polygamy and finished as learners of compassion. Messages pour onto social media each anniversary. You enabled me to move on. You taught me to forgive. You led me to believe I could begin anew. The series' final seasons transcended TV. They were group therapy, aired weekly. The Circle Comes Full commitment ceremony started with 5 individuals in a circle, vowing to stay together. Now that circle has expanded to encompass all the viewers who ever did believe in them. The promise transformed shape, not unity in wedlock, but unity in meaning. Every fan who lights a candle, posts a clip, or says a quote maintains that circle alight. The vow lives on, not between the Browns, but between tellers and hearers, between love and learning. Tomorrow's story. While the world waits for spin-offs and documentaries, one thing holds true. The narrative will continue to expand, because humans will continue to require it. When a person looks up Sister Wives on YouTube in 2030, they won't only discover episodes. They'll discover themselves, resonations of bravery, forgiveness, and love learning to begin anew. Final reflection. Love isn't found in how long it continues, but in the way it profoundly changes us. The Browns demonstrated to us that sometimes love shatters so that it can flower anew. They reminded us that faith without judgment, honesty without fear, and endings without anger can remain holy. And so the commitment celebration continues. A moment suspended in light. A testament that every heart, somewhere, is still strong enough to start again. The eternal lesson, Sister Wives, TLC WHEN. The sun comes up over the red rocks of Arizona. It is cast down upon the same sand where the Brown family once vowed forever. The desert has heard it all. Their laughter, their fighting, their hopes. And yet, the desert listens. It reminds us that stories soon grow old and are forgotten. But lessons, the real ones, are etched in the heart. What they taught us, Christine showed us that freedom isn't rebellion, it's peace. Janelle showed us that independence doesn't nullify love, it makes it stronger. Meri taught us that releasing is the most generous way to hold on. Robyn showed us that loyalty is possible even when the majority does not get you. And Kody taught us that leadership without listening becomes loneliness. Together, they showed that family isn't structured, it's sincere. The gift of imperfection crows once sat waiting for a fairy tale. What they got instead was something more, a reflection. The commitment celebration was flawed, a bit stiff, very human. It demonstrated that sacredness doesn't need symmetry. Love can stumble and remain upright. Reality television seldom gives us a glimpse of beauty in failure. Sister Wives did. That's why, even now, clips of Christine's laugh or Meri's tears feel so healing. They're real. A legacy of conversation every decade gets the stories it needs. In the 2010s, the world needed permission to talk about faith and choice. In the 2020s, it needed permission to change. The Browns gave both panel shows, classrooms, and even church groups still quote their words. What started as a TV experiment became a continuing national conversation regarding trust, gender, and emotional candor. The courage to leave something sacred, the courage to leave something holy is less common than the courage to remain. When Christine closed the door behind her, the world took a collective breath, not in condemnation, but in awe. She did not abandon faith. She remapped it. That one decision redefined the commitment celebration for what it really is, a picture of a moment in time, not a lifetime promise. Since then, numerous fans have penned, if she could do it over, perhaps I can too. Kody's quiet awakening, Kody Brown's path concluded rather than with a big speech, but with introspection. Recently in interviews he acknowledged, I used to believe that being a husband was about leading everybody forward. Now I believe it is about learning how to walk beside them. That one line closed the circle. He no longer talks of plural unity. He talks of human humility. Viewers once critical of him now observe a man remolded by time. The world they leave behind. Brown family's narrative opened the door to a tide of shows grounded in reality, rather than spectacle. Sister Wives is credited as an inspiration for documentaries on interfaith couples, mixed families, and single moms. The commitment celebration demonstrated that people want to connect more than they want perfection. That's the real revolution, not with the format, but with emotion. Look at them, not headlines, but human beings. 5 hearts that chose to love openly, who allowed cameras to record their most vulnerable truths. That courage bridged the gaps. In each viewer who was seen, in each family that learned to speak again, in each person who understood that endings can still be sacred, there resides the legacy of that evening. Legacy after love. Browns taught us that legacy isn't what you leave. It's what continues to grow once you give up trying to manage it. Their commitment celebration wasn't the close of a book. It was the planting of hundreds more. Each fan who forgives, each parent who hears a little longer, each partner who speaks a little gentler. Each is a part of that legacy. Love after legacy is not about remaining together. It's about remaining true. If this story touched you, pass it on to someone who thinks love can still flourish. Don't forget to like, comment, and share to those who still believe in love. Hit that subscribe button for more news. Behind TLC Sister Wives is out. Stay blessed until next time.